Got some smoke that'll elevate your game even more. Move that. Earn a spot in my organization.
Nah, Charles be on some bullshit. I think in this season of BMF, like season 2, yo, Charles is gonna be on some bullshit because you see how like him and Terry's coming up with like all these ideas, like we could do this, like with the cab services, like he has a whole plan, and Charles is like, no, let's just stick to what we know. And then you see like him and Lucia, like they have like this discussion like later on, and she's like, I'm trying to like do everything at once, and he's just like, listen, man, I don't like how things is going because she found like a dirty magazine, and he's just like, listen, if you give me some, I don't gotta do this to myself. I mean, I kind of like that dynamic, but we all know that eventually that they're gonna get the divorce from which we've seen in the documentary. It's bound to happen because when she went to Cleveland with the family. And she was telling her mom this, like, it feels like they're roommates at this point, and it seems like they're growing apart. So it's a lot to see. There's gonna be a lot that's gonna actually happen, and eventually it's gonna come up to like, okay, once when they get the divorce, Charles is not gonna have the house, which is gonna be Meech is gonna be the one to be paying all the bills because that rent is gonna like be building up, right? And then I like the fact that when Meech did come along with them in like Cleveland, you see that this man was basically like, making his little deals and this and that. And Lucia was like looking when he showed up at the dinner party. She's like, like, I don't know, like something going on here. So he was talking to this dude, and he was just like, okay, yeah, like this is what we're gonna do. This man changes his whole operation and goes back on the deal. Like, no, I'm gonna take everything and you can leave. So Meech shows back up later. I don't know how he even knew. I don't know how he just knew like, oh, where where his mom was at, and showed up. And then I mean, it was still funny because he was just like, oh, can you give me a glass of water? Like, oh, thank you. And then when she walks out, he's, oh, you thirsty, huh? You thirsty? And then he pulls up the gun on. He's like, listen, man, you talking that sweet shit. My cousin gonna be running operations. You ain't gonna be running shit. And if you talk crazy to me one more time, your mama gonna be serving you spaghetti with your balls. I was like, yo, Meech, chill, chill. Like that nigga talking crazy. Like I thought that was great. And then I like the fact that Terry, like, somewhat saved Meech at the end, from which they had that little fight at the movie theater, and he was explaining, like, I'm always the one gonna save you. And I think going forward in this season is going to be Terry that's going to be constantly saving Meech, because since B Mickey is working with Brian the fuckboy cop, see, every time when he comes in, and it was so funny because he had this face like this I just fucked your girl face, so he coming in with Meech, and B Mickey like, yo, come on, son. Why you showing up at the hospital? Why you showing up at my house doing some Batman shit? And you over here talking about some weird Meech. And then he just say, well, you know what's going to happen to you, right? I like that because it's funny. Like, he has his face. Like, come on, man, where's Meech? But I think that something could happen to, like, Brian. But I don't think it's gonna like result to his death or anything, because as we seen in the future, like in 2005, where he busted future Terry, and I guess at that time it was like 20 years, so he's been trying to like get like Meech and Terry. So I don't think anything's gonna like bad's gonna happen to like his partner. Sure, something could happen to his partner, but for him, I don't think anything bad or anything too crazy is gonna happen to him. So that's gonna be like something there. And then I do like how K9 has like enemies, and which I think Terry or Meech was explaining in the monologue that when you work with new business partners, you have to deal with their threats. And I wonder if K9 is gonna do the same for Meech, because we seen like Lamar, I think, either kill or strangle, or he choked out a cop in the hospital, and then we see him like at the end, and I guess he called his cousin. And his cousin was just like, oh, okay, I got you. And he picked him up. Now, here's the thing. Lamar is a crazy dude, because Lamar killed his friend in season 1 because I guess his friend was scared of him, and I guess he didn't want to do what he wanted or whatever. And he was just like, man, this is crazy. And then I think Lamar I forgot what he did. He either beat him to death with a hammer and was singing, or he strangled him or cut him and he was singing. Like, I don't know. Lamar was on some crazy shit in season 1, so I wonder if K9 is gonna do Meech the common courtesy and help him deal with Lamar, because I mean Meech is bringing K9 all this money. He's doing all this nice stuff for him, but at the same time, K9 is teaching him a valuable lesson. He's just like, listen, even though me and you is doing business together, but one, you should never allow your enemies to disrespect you, and you should always take the initiative to deal with them. And two, K9 is also showing me, it's like, listen, even though I got enemies and all these people I'm dealing with, just that if this money ain't right and you late, this could be you. Like, he's showing him these things, and I kind of like the little mentorship that K9 is actually doing with Meech, because he's teaching him a valuable lesson. He is showing him these things, because all of this is going to lead up into in the future where Meech is going to be the one to like officially take over, and he's not taking any orders from anybody. He's the one that's giving the orders. I mean, now he's giving smaller orders, but eventually he's going to be giving bigger orders when he takes over like a lot of areas like Cleveland, Atlanta, LA. I forgot what was the other area. I think New York. Yeah, I think he has some stuff in New York. Like, yeah, like Meech is gonna be everywhere once he really starts to like pick up these things. But it's funny because it's gonna take Brian 20 years to get this man. So basically, all of his attempts, he's gonna constantly keep failing. I wouldn't say it's like a Tom and Jerry type relationship that they're gonna have, because I don't think so. But it's just like, he's going to constantly keep on failing. He's going to be getting information, but he's going to keep failing until eventually he's going to get them. But I thought it was great. I thought like this episode was like really great. And it's gonna show like a lot of things into the future too, because you already got Terry out here trying to fuck Boom's wife. Like, he over here talking about, oh yeah, let's go out. And then she's trying to show him equity. She's trying to show him these things like, let's do things right. And he like, yeah, man, damn, you fine. And then the thing with the whole cab service, I think, what is it called? Like, the thing with the cab service, I wonder, like, if they're part of, like, a mob or anything, because they warned Terry when he was at the airport, and it was just like, yo, Terry, you've been warned. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what's that going to be about? Like, are they, part of something? Like, is it going to be like some sort of side thing that Terry's gonna have to come to Meech about? Like, oh, there's some shit that's going on, and maybe they're gonna have to like team up, because that's the thing. Like, in Detroit, everybody has an enemy, so you may not be that particular target or of that enemy, like, but everybody got beef. What I'm basically trying to get to is that everybody have beef, and I think like I said in my previous video, that Meech and Terry will eventually come back together. It's just that right now they kind of like have like little animosity, a little beef towards each other. But I think they're gonna like put that to the side, because again, Lamar's gonna come back strong. He is gonna come back strong, because the one thing about what we're seeing from like BMF is that Meech is expanding. He's trying to expand the territory a bit early, because in the documentary, it was like, he only expanded that territory like later when he got shot. That's when he expanded the territory. So I'm like, okay, it's nice to see him to expand his territory like sooner. But eventually, if that comes up of him getting shot, which I think so, it may not be. It could be this season, actually. It could probably be this season or next season, where Lamar gets his get back and he actually shoots at Meech. And I guess at the time, Meech is be like, well, I can't stay in Detroit anymore. I got to leave. So I am wondering how all of this is going to, like, play up to, Meech actually leaving and Lamar. Because I don't think for the show, like, I don't think they're going to be like, oh, Lamar's going to die in a show. Because, again, the real life man who plays, well, what is his name? Leighton. Yeah, Leighton. I don't think Leighton's going to take that too kindly. Like, oh, like, you killed him off in the show. And it's like kind of like disrespecting him, because you're disrespecting the character and the man that he portrayed from when everybody was saying, like, back in the 80s, like, Leighton was a crazy dude. You wouldn't mess with him. So I don't know. I don't think Lamar is going to die, but if he does, sure. But I don't think so. I think his fate is going to be a little bit different from what people is thinking and claiming to be. But overall, I thought this I thought this episode was pretty good. So, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will catch you all in the next one.